And the thing is, when you sit and think, what should happen to Escobar's men for killing everybody, protecting that drug dealer? Should they be held accountable for that kind of darkness that says, yes, I better do this because I need this money or whatever, for whatever reason? Who cares? It's not about the reason. It's the motive and payoff that motivates you to act in anything. But because it's drug dealers, let's talk about that. The Mussolini element for Escobar's men. They go and kill for the guy. So, and my behavior was to threaten that kind of thing, threaten that kind of violence. I didn't do violence once. I walked away before violence. It was all a big act, and it worked. I made a lot of money, $1,200 to $1,500, $1,600 a day, 24-hour days though, and it all went in my arm, right? Escobar's men do it to feed their family, or whatever reason they do it for. Who fucking cares? They acted in the same way. Muscling element for the drug dealer and behaviors that project the dark, evil shit that comes out of that. Violence. Don't fuck with my drug dealer, I'll kill your dad. Because that's what happened. If my dad came and said, fuck you, drug dealer, I'm going to stop you from infecting my son, the cops would come in and shoot him. If he told them to fuck off. The violence is there. It's the same violence. Doing it differently, but the same outcome, same evil. And in terms of being held accountable for it, everybody will be. I'm going to be held accountable by God for that darkness that I projected and that evil I did. And so we're all going to be held accountable together because it's the same intent. It's the same calculated thought in your heart, fornication, as spoken of in your symbolic Bibles. Because Eve is symbol, or Sophia is symbol and image. Thought process, symbols. And Elohim is spirit. There's so many layers of hidden code in the fucking thing, which is remarkable. One structured sentence of identifiable symbols will explain one thing, and it's like a layer being taken off to expose the next thing that's there, and you look, and you keep peeling off the layers of knowledge. Learning that way. It's really remarkable once your pain is healed, once you understand yourself, to get to know yourself then and develop the relationship with the higher self again, because that is fueled by your life source. Offering it to you for you to grasp onto so you can live forever. Everybody's hope and dream, right? Live forever in spirit, in heaven. In physical, I'm pretty positive the first couple of levels of heaven is physical. It has to be physical, or because we were made physical. I'm wondering how far. I do understand where we change into light beings, so that's an evolving thing. But the first part of it is light. After this life is another physical life, not on Earth, but I don't know on the new Earth. Because this one will vibrate itself into two Earths, taking the duality, the chosen light or darkness in the person. It's going to be we're going to be separated. First, the opportunity to learn, grow, and evolve. You can't do that unless you're in the purity form of truth. And you get there by saying, yes, this is the truth, or no, this is not the truth. Image and symbol, thought process, the light and logic that makes sense out of the emotional truth of self, found by intellectual wisdom as one unit, one thing, husband and wife, internal spiritual family, birthing spiritual children with the Spirit of God right there inside us. He's thinking he's your uniqueness, not knowing anything at all as much as we do when we arrive here in new life, ready to be exploited, ready to have all the girls who are beautiful moms in the beginning, and then turned somehow. They're being attacked, as according to the ex-Satanist priest, and I believe him. He's telling the truth. And I'm trying to figure out what the fuck, how is that happening? It's TV programming. It is absolutely TV programming, and the things that are being exploited. And this is part of, hopefully, for you to understand how they do that. And it's about planting seeds. So the spiritual children born in the moment, if they can own your emotional truth by making you believe in the falsehood, then that birthing is process that's supposed to be internal is coming from the outside in. And therefore you're being manipulated and forming belief then based in, rooted in their darkness and thin sliver of truth and not the full body of its truth. Because the full body of its truth includes us with empathy, and that's disregarded to program us to be hunger machines and profit machines and money machines for the few who are in control of it all. Holy fuck. They made it legal after what? How many fucking judges did I see that for weed charges? Who said weed is a gateway drug to make you an alcoholic and a drug addict. But now go get some and buy more, because that's what they're saying now in the court, when they're not saying those warnings to the victims, like the kids who go in there, who go to court on, well, used to go to court like me on weed related charges, and they used to say they don't say it anymore. By not saying it, they invite you to just go get some weed, it'll be fine. It's not funny, it's wicked evil, right? And the wicked evil are going to be replaced by nothing. They're going to be removed, and it'll just be us. Those who are in the full body of knowledge, or are not afraid to enter into the full body of knowledge of any specific thing. It doesn't matter. But each one thing is specific because it becomes a focused thought, and therefore a focused thought with silence. Silence is the communication element with your life source. Your gut moves, gives you intuition, your gut feeling. That's silence speaking with you, and you speak back to it in silence, whether you know it or not, and you're communicating already with them, with God, the life source, sourcing you the elements of himself, so you might catch on and keep those things. But you have to practice those things and keep programming your living computer. Holy fuck, that's why it's exploitable. It's a programmable living computer, for fuck's sake. On autopilot. The subconscious doesn't, and the heart and the brain, they don't know the difference between light and darkness, truth or evil, all that. They just believe what self believes and acts, and then creates from that. And that causes all kinds of problems when the person's put in a place of their duality by thinking the fantasy is real and the lie is the truth and the truth is the lie. It's like, holy fuck. Unbelievable. Exploiters, right? People who exploit. People who are never in truth, just hungry for their addiction, which is money and control and power. And control is so powerful. So that, yeah, and they're following Edem, as it's written, her name, the dark feminine, who created angels to surround her, 12 angels, their influences. Those 12 are influences, otherwise called trees of knowledge, but their influence is to birth information in the moment, to become aware of, react to emotionally, and then act, projecting the spirit of the wisdom that you calculate your heart's thought with. Well, if you're with truth, you're not calculating your heart's thought with anything. You're following a path of knowledge. You get the knowledge, you go, oh, fuck, yeah, and you walk through it. Or you get the knowledge, it terrifies you, you say, fuck that, I'll take this thin sliver, act on that, and pretend the rest doesn't matter, or doesn't count, or isn't there. That's what people do. And they fuck themselves up that way. They kill their spirits off that way. And they hand their spiritual children, emotional truth itself and its belief, over to the spiritual pedophile for defilement. The devil, who you call the devil. His name is Naas. He's described as the third angel. He's described as playing with Adam as a boy, pedophilia, and fucking with Eve in a way. It's fucking with the emotional truth itself, and the way it mixes is symbolized by sex, physical sex, because of the similarities. But fornication means to calculate your heart's thought with the darkness instead of a being with the light that requires no calculating in your heart's thought. You go, oh, fuck, yeah. And then you think about that and evolve the thought of the emotional truth in the full body of knowledge of it. And that's just learning, growing, and evolving. And then you get the wisdom of your emotional self and the wisdom in depth of knowing stuff in a forethought or reading people because you're so truthful with yourself. You just feel it. You become that other person in your empathy. And I know you understand what that means. A lot of people don't. They do understand it to the point where, oh, I know what that means. I got some of that a little bit, but I know how to exploit that because I got a little bit. And I'm going to exploit in that person because I want his $20 or his fix or his company or his car or his wife and whatever they want. They'll just go instant gratification need and the hunger will set in. They'll go attack, fornicate thought, produce a falsehood element and an emotional falsehood, get you to trust. And the Holy Spirit is then fucked with. You hand your children your emotional truth and its belief over to the person for them to give you the belief back. Like, holy fuck, right? That's what you do with the politicians who are the muscling element for the drug dealer. You hand over your emotional truth to evil for them to reprogram it to say what they want and put it back in your fucking heart. That's what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. What's the muscling element for a drug dealer? Someone who steps in to provide the muscle when somebody interferes with the natural flow of drug sales for the dope dealer. He hires the muscling element to protect him from, among other things, angry fathers who would otherwise put a stop to their poisoning of their children, targeting of their children, for hunger machine status and addiction machine status, so they can keep making the drug dealer rich. So he hires the muscling element for the angry fathers who are coming to stop him. And it works. And it's gotten to the point now where the government's muscling element for alcohol, weed, opiates. Notice how opiates took over heroin? There's no more heroin dealers because it's now opiate dealers. And he's a pharmacist, for fuck's sakes. The pharmacist is the middleman. The maker of the drug is the drug dealer. The muscling element for the prescription in weed and alcohol and cigarettes, all of which kill people, and make enormous amounts of money because they're all addiction related. You'll get the disease of addiction, and you won't be able to help but feed into that hunger. So the cops come, the violent part of the muscling element, when there's a drunk Indian. 40 cops surround the guy and take him down. Yeah, same thing with white people too, but not as much, obviously, because cops in the system just hate Indians, like they always have. And the proof is in how many Native people are in jail as compared to white people. It's disgusting and filthy how, not how they get away with it, but how you allow it and keep electing them in and keep buying their bullshit that says, no, we're not drug dealers, we're keeping the peace. Violence comes in and then puts them in court. The second part of that muscling element sentences, punishes the victim for acquiring the disease element of addiction in order to control, because he gets out of control. The disease element of addiction puts the person out of fucking control in that hunger element. You become blinded by it and you feed the fucking hunger. That's what addiction is. That's why it's a disease. Anyway, I got lost. Fuck. So yeah, the judge and jailer. And if you tell the judge, hey, wait a minute, you're a fucking pedophile. Please stop pedophiling the children born in my heart's thought, in the immaculate conception between me and my life source, birthing those spiritual children. Spiritual children is obviously my emotional truth, spiritual daughter. Its belief cognitive male is my spiritual son. I am a very protective parent, equipped with the Christ consciousness of who and which helps me parent those children. To learn, grow, and evolve spiritually through the emotional content of human experience, because that's what this is. But people come in, evil, wicked people who are about to be erased off this planet. They're being taken, put on planet consumption. They'll never be in control of anything again. They're going to be consumed themselves because they love consumption. Everybody's going to be put with the like-minded, okay? And when that happens, before that happens, though, they're the muscling element, where you finally go to jail and be punished for becoming addicted to their psychoactive substance for sale. And how do they do that? How do they make you believe that they're not drug dealers and what they're doing is okay and what I did was not okay? Because it's the same behavior with the same intent. It's the same calculating of the heart's thought with darkness instead of emotional light and truth and purity of that truth. You see, I justified a ton of things from my unresolved pain, which everybody's stuck in and which is being exploited by these people. And most don't even know it. Like, they're targeting their own children while they're targeting ours. Like the jailer, the fucking judge and the cops, they're targeting their own children. Do they know that? Some do and think to themselves, well, I'll just educate my kids not to become... Holy fuck, man. Will I continue to be the muscling element for a drug dealer? Go fuck yourself. And now you're protecting the fags who want to sexualize a child's heart by doing striptease acts in demonized fucking costumes, representing demons and evil, and you're going to protect them from the angry fathers who want to stop them from doing a striptease act in front of at school? Holy fuck, you motherfuckers are fucked up lucky. Dark, feminine, invading, and I get so angry, but I catch myself because I understand the algorithm of duality, and that's where we have been placed as a community of spiritual people in full-hearted trust and hope for our father figure, that because that's what innocence and trust does. We need a father figure, and then the government comes in and says, do it this way or we're going to take your head or burn you alive, torture you, put you in the dungeon. Way back when, in today's world, they have the TV to count on to program you to believe these things are all okay and justified, where they say do this or that, or these bad things will happen. Just like I used to do in the back alley. Hey, fuck you. Don't fuck with him or you're going to be fucking with me. And it worked. It was all one big bluff. I didn't know how to fight. I knew how to act because I remember TV, and it worked. Fuck, I couldn't believe it. I got attacked only twice in the 3 full-time years I was down there. No home. Back alley junkie. Fuck. My pain put me in a place of hunger, of need, desperate need to distract myself from the unresolved pain. Drugs and alcohol were there. Cigarettes were there. And eventually I found drugs, right? I mean, so alcohol and cigarettes were there, but eventually I found drugs, and it put me there, where the cops had to come and be the violent part, put me in front of the judge, the second part of the muscling element, just like Escobar's men, who do the same thing I did, and the same thing they're doing for the same motive and payoff, to protect the drug dealer from the junkie who steps out of line with the drug dealer and costing all that fucking money, because it costs a lot of money to make a big stink at exploiting people by profiting from addiction, disease, and death, suffering beyond comparison. And you people freak out over a flu and protect everything because you're afraid, but you do nothing about the 3 million people who die every year from alcohol alone. And then there's cigarettes, and then there's drugs, and holy fuck, man. And you just don't put it together. It's duality. You're terrified of confronting because they say, hey, shut the fuck up or you're going to jail for 30 days for contempt. You can't go into court and say, you're the fucking drug dealer and the criminal element. They'll put you in jail. That's their power. That's their strength. And if you say, fuck you, he's going to send the guard to do the violent part. See how that works? I do. I've experienced it. So I experienced being the muscling element. I understand Escobar's men and how they're the muscling element protecting him and any other drug dealer. It works the same way with all drug dealers, all dealers of psychoactive substance. It's one thing in different forms. It's the psychoactive substance you become addicted to. Gambling too. That's another thing. Yeah, all I gotta do is fucking wait, because they're coming to get you, unless you confess your sins and repent. Then there's a hope for you, and then learn the skill set of what Jesus came with. Okay, then you'll be good. It doesn't matter who you are and what you've done. It doesn't. You're dealing with a God of goodness and kindness and empathy and love and care, and it doesn't blind him. That's the full body of life and a God being. He just loves you and forgives you. All you gotta do is change, man. That's it. That's all. That's all you gotta do, and perfect your formed thought with the good instead of instant gratification of fucking evil. That's it. That's all.